ahead and spell your first name and last name for me.
Okay. Colby, Colby, and last name Ryan, Ryan.
And let's start with this so we have this on camera.
Okay.
How are you related to this whole case, this whole story?
So I am Lori Vallow's son, and then I am obviously Charles Vallow's stepson. So.
And you are Tylee's big brother,
and
JJ's big brother, but you are Lori's first and only biological son, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a long timeline. I think we should start way back, just to have your wedding. We were just looking at your wedding pictures.
Okay.
This is January 2018.
Yeah.
Lori, Charles are there. Everyone's there.
Yeah.
What is life like at that time? It's your wedding day.
Yeah.
Just describe what life is like then.
It's just totally normal. I mean, we are getting ready to get married. We're preparing. We did it at their house. And so we were at the big house that was in almost like Santan Valley. And everybody came and, we're just getting ready. We're excited. JJ's ready. Obviously, we talked about Tylee coming a little bit late, so she wasn't in the pictures. But yeah, I mean, we were just excited. Everybody was together. We knew we had a big guest list of our family there, so we were just, it was totally normal life.
Everyone's
was just
getting along. Everyone's happy.
This is normal.
This is your parents' home.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, not Chandler. It's
our parent. It's my parents' home. Okay. So we're getting married there in the backyard with everybody coming there.
And at this time, did your parents have any issues that you knew about?
I mean, obviously everybody has arguments and things like that, but no, not that. And it was totally normal. Everything was just how it was. It was normal. Everybody just did their thing, and obviously I was preparing to move out, so everything with everybody was good and normal.
And then let's fast forward now to a year later, January 2019. How do you find out that your mom is headed to Kauai?
Well, she didn't really tell me much when it came to the Kauai in the beginning. So basically I called my cousin and we were talking, and he pretty much broke the news that something happened with my parents. So I'm like, what's going on? I hadn't talked to my mom yet. And all that stuff happened, I think, within a week. So I don't know exactly the timeline on that, but I know that she left. And I know Tylee was thinking about if she was going to go with her. And that was really it. So it was really we were kind of in the dark in that way too. I was surprised that she was leaving because I didn't know what was going to happen between them. Are you guys going to figure it out, or are you going to talk it out, whatever the case was. So I know Charles was gone. He was supposed to come back. By the time he got back, I think she was already planning on leaving or had already left.
Tylee went with her. Ended up going for a month, and JJ's with Charles.
Yeah.
So she didn't tell you herself that she was going.
No.
At that point, you've been married for a year?
Yeah.
When did the contact decrease between you and your mom, that relationship?
Yeah, so probably in around that time it started going more down, because obviously I'd text her, call her every couple of days, tell her I love her, just catch up, talk about everything. So probably more towards before July, so April, that time, it just started really really going down. I mean, obviously when she first left, she wasn't really talking to anybody, including myself. So I felt shocked in that way. But our contact slowly perfectly decreased down. So
January 2019, it's slowly, and then by April.
By the
time she had even came back, and you think that maybe she's working out with Charles. So you guys don't talk. Maybe what, monthly? What's
I would say every maybe few weeks, about around that time, just a check-in. How are you? Not that back and forth I was used to.
But had her personality changed in any way at this point? Did she ever talk about these books that she read? Did she ever talk about how serious she was getting into her beliefs, her religion, any of that? Did she talk about that?
I think really what happened was she started to get into a place where she was following that, but for me, I hadn't heard that. So she kind of gauged me when it came to that subject, but she wasn't saying what was going on. I didn't know what she was reading. I didn't know the full belief system of what was going on. So I had no idea that there was a shift, right? And so that's why it was a bigger deal to me when I started hearing these things. What are you guys talking about? What religion? What are you even referring to? Because I had not heard those things.
Okay. quick thing, if you can get a shot of us too on camera.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because she's not giving you specifics on what necessarily she's learning or believing. She's gauging you. When you say gauging, she's trying to see what spiritual you are, or
Right.
kind of where your head is
Yeah,
at.
exactly.
Those conversations.
Well, me and Kelsey kind of turned into, obviously growing up, I've always had a strong belief in God, and I've always tried to keep that a part of my life. Growing up, though, obviously you start to believe or start to come into your own. And so I felt like from an early point, Kelsey and I were trying to go to church together, and we were trying to really figure ourselves out spiritually. And so I think that she was seeing where I was at all the time, or maybe she's I know that the Lord's got you, but she's gauging me when she would say things. So she didn't say the stuff that she believed, that stuff that I've heard, and that had never been said. And so I was confused reading that. I'm that doesn't even sound like my mom. You know what I mean?
So maybe do you think she was trying to see if you were on the same wavelength as her at all?
Yeah.
Or if you were going on your own?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of see just how much support she could get from me, or, what I thought about, certain little things that she said, but she never said anything that was out of the ordinary.
But even though you guys have the contact has decreased at this point in the spring, you're not thinking, you're just thinking, hey, I have my own family now. At this time, do you have your baby yet?
Yeah, so in 2019?
Yeah, this is now spring.
So we had her in February. So, right after the stuff happened with them in the beginning of the year, we had Riley a couple weeks later. And so there we are, brand new parents trying to figure everything out on our side while this is all going on. So that's a big part of the step back. You know what I mean? We're trying to do our own thing and try to figure stuff out while this is all this drama is going on behind us. So it was just it's really tough to balance that.
Your grandparents come and you had just had a baby. I'm sure they were still happy even though there was drama. But Charles and Lori came, saw your baby.
So at that point, I think she hadn't left yet, or she had come back. I'm not sure. She came to the hospital that day, but Charles was not there.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was your contact with Charles since your wedding? Take me through that relationship, how it changed, how it developed.
Yeah, we were totally fine. Through all the way through to the beginning of January, we were totally fine. We talked, texted, he called me, we went over to their house. He was so excited about having, a granddaughter. He was always saying stuff like that. And so we never had a problem, you know what I mean? When 2019 came around, and here I am thinking that, something happened in their relationship on his part, I'm sitting there and I was upset. So I didn't want to talk to him. And he was trying to say, he was sending emails to the family and trying to get people to understand more of his side. He was innocent from cheating and stuff like that. And so for me, I was just upset. I wasn't ready to speak to him myself. I was just angry. And so I wasn't in a place where we were talking back and forth. So we had not really talked since right in the middle maybe of February, when he had called me one time and tried to talk to me a little bit. And that was kind of the last time we talked on the phone or any type of contact.
February 2019. At this point, February 2019, he files the divorce papers.
Yeah.
Divorce papers that he would eventually dismiss in March. But this is where he is saying that your mom was claiming to be a god, took his money, told him that if he got in her way, she would kill him. But you had no idea of this divorce that was looming and him trying to get custody of JJ.
So here's what I understood and what I thought. He left. Obviously, he wanted to move away from the situation and go back closer to being with family. Houston. My mom had left. Yeah, exactly, Houston. And so she had left. And so when I heard about her going back with JJ, I thought they were going to be in the relationship, which I was confused about. I'm for her side, why are you trying to be with someone that did this? I know you have JJ, but are you guys going to make it work? And it was just a weird time. So she had been moving there, and I think she came back briefly. Then she left to Houston. It was just so much going on at that time. And on top of that, we're living our own lives. We're trying to raise a baby who's a couple months old. So it's just one of those things. It's confusing.
And they remained estranged. He got the home in Chandler for her to rent with the kids, but he wasn't necessarily living there.
Right.
And then July 11th happens. You've seen the body cam. That's all coming after the fact. But take me back to that day and how you found out that Charles died.
Yeah. So I just got a phone call in the middle of the day and said that he had a heart attack. And so I was wow, she said he had a heart attack at the house. So I'm thinking, wow, Tylee sat there and saw him go down. my family had to watch him have a heart attack. Like, that's horrible. And so my first thought is like, what is going on? Like, you're just in shock. Like, I just sat there just in shock. And I'm thinking like, okay, what do I need to do? Like, how can I help them? All I wanted to do is reach out and try to help them out. So.
Your mom said he had a heart attack. Mm-hmm. When did you find out he was shot by your uncle?
Yeah. So when I went to the house, I walked in the door, hugged Tylee, thinking he still had a heart attack. I did not find out that he was shot and what had happened until I went and talked to her in the house while I was there. So obviously when you walk in the door thinking one thing and you hear that, it just like immediately, like I like froze up. I had no words. I didn't know what to say. I was like, what are you saying? What are you talking about?
How does she justify saying that he initially had a heart attack to being shot? How does she explain
She didn't. I said that. I said, why would I hear something different? Why would there not just be the initial conversation? So I don't know if she was scared of telling me, like, my reaction to it, because once I heard that, I was like, I just started going off. Like, I just started like cussing. Like, I don't usually cuss, but I was just like freaking out, and I was like going at her, like, why would you not tell me what was going on? Like, this is worse. This is 1,000,000 times worse than what you said. So.
But play back that conversation for me. You're in the backyard, meeting her, and what is she doing? She's sitting there, and you sit down, and she says.
No, I just asked her. I said, what's going on? I said, what is going on? And she told me the story, how they got in a fight and everything, and it just like, it's still like just that feeling, just like seriously like a drop from right here, just through my body. Like, just when I heard that he got killed, that was just like more than I could really handle.
You're wondering, how does a fight lead to him getting shot? Right?
Exactly.
How did it escalate?
Yeah.
What was the explanation for that? Did she have one? Because she was inside.
Yeah. She said that they got in a fight, that they were physical, that Charles had taken the bat from Tylee, and then I guess Al went and got the gun to like stop him because he was in a rage, and then that was it.
Is Charles known to ever be in a rage like that, the way she described?
No. Not that I know of. I mean, I've never seen him just go berserk like that.
You grew up with him.
Yeah.
This is your dad, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Describe him as a dad.
You know, in
a nutshell.
Yeah, he was very, like, he wanted to teach us as much as he could. He always had that, like, I would want your life to be better than my life. So he was trying to connect to us in the way that we cared about, like, you know, stuff that he would do. Like, he always tried to help me with sports. Even though he didn't know anything about basketball, we always talked about, like, I wanted to play college basketball, and he was so involved in that because he knew that was our connecting piece. You know, we joked around, and he was gone a lot of the time when I was younger. Like, he was on business trips and stuff, and so I didn't see him a ton, like, you know, in that high school period. And then obviously I started moving around for school. But him as a person, you know, he was a good person and he cared about people, and I noticed him changing himself around for the better. Like, he was trying to give that type of effort, you know, to everybody. He was trying to show, like, how much he loved JJ, how much he loved my mom. Like, he was really trying to show it because he wasn't that type of, like, really, like, he wasn't really sensitive, but he was. Like, he didn't show sensitivity in that way, like, you know.
Affection.
Yeah, exactly. But he was. It just wasn't physically shown in that way.
But overall, would you say this was a solid male role model for you growing up?
Yeah, he was. He was. And he tried really hard. Even when he didn't know, he tried really hard to, like, figure it out.
Now, in your mom's statement to police, she says that, you know, they've been having problems, and Charles could be, I don't know, not physically abusive, but verbally could go and get angry just like that, and maybe he was all about JJ, but wasn't about Tylee. What would you say about that from your perspective? Was there a sort of different type of relationship, favoritism, anything like that?
I think he really cared about Tylee. I think that it's hard to connect. I think they had a hard time just connecting because my mom's attention was focused on Tylee. And then when we got JJ, her attention really focused on JJ. And so Tylee kind of turned into like a second mom in a sense to JJ, started taking care of him. And so Tylee and Charles would kind of butt heads on things for JJ, but Tylee's not the parent. And so that was, I think, one of their power struggles, is that Tylee wanted to do things for JJ like a parent. She felt that role for him. And so they had a good relationship. He really did put that effort in, but I think the disagreements were, you know, between the chain of command, like who he was, not overstepping boundaries with my mom to her daughter, right? And so it kind of created a struggle.
Because it's not really his daughter, it's his stepdaughter.
Exactly.
So there's this barrier.
Yeah.
But nothing to the extent of where, like, could he be hurtful or harmful?
No, I don't think so.
You never saw that?
No.
And by that time, so you're out of the house, you're doing your own thing, you're in college, etc.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So this shooting happens, you leave, you're upset with your mom. Next time you speak to her is when?
I don't even remember. Probably a couple of days after that.
Okay.
I checked in on her. You know, I wanted to know how Tylee was doing, how JJ was doing, and basically figure out what is your plan. Like, what are you guys doing now?
Did you talk to Tylee about this though? After you found out the truth?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's her head at?
She seemed like the type of person to try to like numb it. Like she tried to like just brush it off, like it wasn't that big of a deal to her in a sense. Like I don't think she could handle that emotion. So she seemed like she was just trying to like make it through it, if that makes sense. So I don't know what happened with her in the situation, but I know that she was sitting there like trying to like cope with it, but also like didn't know how. So she was just like, oh yeah, well everything's fine, it's really hard, but I'm gonna be okay. Like that was her mentality. So I personally was like, Tylee, like if you need anything, like talk to me, please call me, come over, like I'm trying to be a support system for you. You know?
You didn't hit her right away that it was real, that it happened, and I know that when the fight started and she had the bat taken away, the report says she goes to the car, so she wasn't physically inside there when the gunshots went off. But did you ask your mom about her driving away in Charles's rental car for whatever reason? I know JJ was in the car, buckled in. But what did she say about that? And
nothing.
Her husband just died.
Yeah, nothing. I didn't know about the rental car. I didn't know about the details of it. I thought that what happened was they got in the fight and that Tylee tried to take JJ out or went to go, you know, with him, and that my mom was either following behind them or whatever. So I didn't get that detail. I heard the details of the fight itself. And so that's what I was like.
You didn't have the detail that your mom heard the gunshot and was inside and actually looked and she saw Charles.
Yeah.
And Alex calls 911. She didn't mention that. She didn't get into that in driving off. Did she open up to the point, was she emotional, or how was your mom's demeanor?
Yeah, she seemed like sad, but like really calm. Like I thought she was trying to be really strong and be in that place like, I'm gonna like try to handle this situation. And she's like, this is awful, this is horrible. And you know, obviously my reaction, like I'm an emotional person. Like when I heard that, like I was like losing my mind. So I was like, I stood up. I was like, I couldn't.
What were you most mad about though? Because you're standing up in emotion, but what, were you mad at her, or what were you?
I was just mad.
What was the center of it that was angering you?
I was just so mad that he got killed. Like it just didn't. No matter what happened, I just don't feel like he had to die for it. I feel like there's a million different. I mean, if you pull a gun on me, like I'm not Superman. Like I'm not gonna come at you and try to like keep going, no matter how angry. So it just really didn't make sense. And I just still wanted to support them emotionally, but I didn't know how to feel for myself, and I didn't know how to cope with it for them. Like I didn't know how to even give them that type of assurance that everything would be okay, because I didn't know. And
you really don't know what happened.
Yeah, I had no idea. I mean, the story was like, when you hear just like, if I'm honest, like when I heard just the part that he was shot, like it's like your ears just ring, like things are being said, but it was just the story, but there wasn't like that like way to like wrap your mind around what she was saying as much. It just, all I heard about was the fight, and then I went inside and I wanted to talk to Tylee and see how she was doing. So like,
and then you left.
Yeah.
And was Alex there?
Mm-hmm.
You talked to him?
He was just sitting on the couch. He had a thing around his head and he was just sitting there. And so I just like kind of looked at him. I didn't really talk to him. I didn't know, had anything. So when I walked in, I saw him, passed him, went outside, talked to my mom, looked at him. It's just like,
didn't say hi?
It's just one of those things. So I mean, obviously I just looked at him, he said hi. I was like, hi, you know, not thinking anything of it, but
at that point when you see him, you didn't know that he shot him.
Yeah, exactly.
You think that it's a heart attack.
Yeah. And
then you come back and you know he shot him.
Yeah.
So it's just going through your mind looking at your uncle like.
I don't know. I was in so much shock, and I just felt like it would have been more chaos, but it wasn't. And so it's just one of those things where like I was like, okay, maybe I should try to like bring it down and just be the one that's like strong enough to
Describe the injury on his head. He had an ice pack?
He just had a wrap around his head, so I don't know what it was.
You didn't see it, but
I didn't see anything.
He says he got hit with a metal bat on the head, and he gets up and he he gets a gun. Like I know he's no one's Superman, but he got hit with the metal bat and got up. And now that you've seen the body cam, you've heard the 911 call. I'm not asking you to be the judge here, but I mean, now you have more information.
Yeah.
How do you wrap your head around this? What are you thinking when you see all the details now?
To be honest with you, I still haven't even come up with an answer for that. Watching the body cam, watching and seeing Charles, like that moment, like just shifted everything for me, and that hurt and that anger kind of came back, and like that feeling had been like I like felt the way I felt that day just again like drop, like, but now it's real. And that's something I feel like I didn't actually get to with this, is that, wow, he's actually gone. Like, that's unreal. Because we hadn't talked, right? So it's almost like if you don't see it, it's, like, different. Seeing him gone, that was, like, the hit. So I just, for that case, like, I still just don't know. I've tried to piece it together. It just doesn't, none of it makes sense to me. So just sitting there trying to, like, fathom it, I just can't.
Do you feel like Chandler Police is missing something? The investigation is still open, and Alex is dead, so that doesn't help the investigation, but it's open for a reason. What do you have questions about this, and what really happened to Charles, and or how this really unfolded?
Yeah, I feel like I have questions all the way back to January, and everything that's happened has been a mystery for me. So obviously there's been a part of me that wants to run towards trying to find answers, and I'm hoping that that happens, especially for him. And that's what I meant, you know, when I said that about justice. Like, I feel like he needs that. He deserves that. I don't know exactly what happened, and that's been everybody's question for me. Like, what do you think happened? And I just don't know. And I don't try to put myself in those shoes, but I know how I feel about him being gone, and that's just like, you know. So
if you think he deserves some sort of justice, do you think that this was a self-defense shooting?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
What's your big question? What's you have questions? What would be one of those big questions that you have?
My number one question is, no matter what happened, why was he shot in the chest? Why was he killed? That just doesn't make sense. Why did he have to die for a fight?
Something else could have been done. The fight was senseless.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's go to August 30th. You're at work. And tell me what happens when your mom gets... Is it August 30th? This is the day before they move?
So the day before they moved, they came. Yeah, so they came, drove up, told me that they were there. So I was like, okay, I'll come out in a minute. So I came out, and it was my mom, Tylee, and JJ. And I just, you know, they came and said, we're leaving tomorrow. We wanted to just come say bye. Tylee was in the car. She was emotional. You know, she looked upset. JJ jumped out, you know, hugged him, kissed him, you know, hugged my mom, told him I love him. Like, I'm always here to support, you know, hopefully, like, everything works out. And I told him, like, just try to restart. Whatever you're doing, try to just, like, reset and try to go forward now. Like, find a place, make it a base, make it a place that you settle into, and let everybody just calm down.
Were you actually kind of relieved that she was moving to start fresh?
Yeah, I mean, for them, I was. For the kids, I was like, they need to be out of the house that happened in. And I didn't know if she was going to leave Arizona, but I knew that they needed to get out of that situation and just try to be in a new environment.
Yeah, elaborate on that. She said, why was she moving and where?
Yeah, she said, I got a new job and that she was moving. So that was it. That's all she told me. And she didn't tell me where. And I just kept it to a place where I was like, as long as the kids are okay, as long as you're okay, and you're taking them to start new, then that's all I want for them, is to be okay and to have a new place to live and be okay.
What is Tylee saying to you about the move?
She didn't really say anything. She just looked so emotional. She looked like she was sad. She looked like she didn't want to go. I know all her friends are here, and so she just seemed like she wasn't ready to move again. Like, she's been through so much moving as well.
So her expression, she wasn't really expressing her, you could see it.
Yeah,
you could see it. She wasn't telling you.
Exactly.
And she wasn't giving you much information. She's just not happy right now, the way you looked at her and said bye.
Yeah. And
she said bye to you. She said, I love you, etc.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, she's very protective of JJ. And so she would do anything to go with him and protect him. So I knew that about her. I know that's why she would go, because she does have friends and family here. So it was like she went for JJ.
And she's also 17. I mean, this is her family.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
going. At what point do you find out that they're going to Idaho?
I didn't know they were going to Idaho. I found out that they were in Idaho recently. That's
Take
where they
me
were.
there. Detectives come and ask you where the kids are.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you find out.
Yeah.
What happened?
They came to the door and they asked me where my little sister is and where JJ is, and I'm like, what are you, like, how are you asking me? I don't know, like, I don't have them. And they came looking for him here, thinking that they would be here. And so I just opened the door thinking, like, why are two detectives at the door? And when we had that conversation, it just, like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean, where's, like, Tylee? Like, I was freaking out because I didn't know what they were going to say. And so we had that conversation. I came inside, and I'm, like, looking around, like, my wife's looking at me, and we're just thinking, what is going on? So I called my mom, and I'm like, you know, two detectives just came to my door. What is going on? And she said, I got it. I'll take care of it. Love you. And that was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
I got it. I'll take care of it. I love you.
Yeah. I mean, it was a little bit of a conversation, but that was really it. That's what it was. Like, you know, she asked me what they asked. I said, they asked for Tylee. I said, where's Tylee? Why are they asking me?
This was November 26th, the day they did the welfare check in Rexburg, Idaho.
It was the day before Thanksgiving. So either it was
day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. That's when they came to our door.
And November 27th, Rexburg police do a search warrant at the townhome in Rexburg, and Lori is gone. Chad Daybell is gone. There's no sign of the kids. Did you find this out, that they have left?
I didn't find out until, I don't know when, so they had an article, someone published the article that they went to their home and they were gone. And that's when I was like, that's when things just started to be like, yeah, I freaked out. So I called my mom and that number was gone. It was dead.
No ring. And you haven't talked to her since that, when the detectives came?
Yep.
Was it Chandler police?
Gilbert, I think.
Gilbert police.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, in Arizona.
Yeah,
agency.
exactly. Yeah.
And then with Tylee, your last contact with her,
Yeah.
with social media or phone after she's moved, take me through that. How did that change?
Yeah, so Tylee and I primarily texted each other. We weren't really like on the phone. We FaceTime with my daughter so that way she could see her and, you know, talk to her or whatever. So we weren't really calling each other. I was texting Tylee while she was gone, checking on her. You know, there was a point in 2018 where we kind of started a mentoring together where I was like trying to help her make sure she could process her emotions through everything. So I was kind of like that, like, you know, do you want to talk today? Do you have anything you need to talk to? So it's just normal conversations, and I was getting texted back. So it just seemed like, you know, you would never even think twice about a text coming back.
In September.
Yes.
At what point do you think, is this Tylee? Is this weird? Like, or tell me about that. Or did you think that at all?
Later in October, that's when it actually like really felt weird. Like I had been telling her like, hey, call me whenever you get time. Whenever you get a chance, call me. FaceTime me. I would FaceTime her. I would call her. And I just never got that answer. So then it was like, but then I would text her and she'd be like, okay, like some type of explanation. Like, you know, I was busy or I'm with new friends and stuff like that. So I'm like, yeah, just grow your life. Like go and enjoy yourself. I don't want to like weigh you down with a lot, but I also want to talk to you and see you. So
you want to make sure she's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're getting these short responses and you're like, okay, like, but did it sound like how she would text or how she would talk?
That was the difference. It's like when you, like we talked about, if you know how someone talks, like
people text a certain way.
Exactly. You know how they like if they put periods or they say something over and over, or if they capitalize, you just know how someone talks. And so it was bouncing back, and they just didn't seem normal. They didn't seem like normal text, and that's when it was like all these things started kind of piecing together. Then when they came to the door, that was like the last like red flag where you're like, okay, so what has been going on this whole time?
So now there's this also Venmo transaction. That's what people want to know about.
Right.
She has a Venmo account. You can confirm that Venmo account, Tylee Ryan, that's her account.
That's her account.
And you got transactions in October, a couple times October. But is that her paying you, or is that your mom using it?
Yeah, so my mom is using Venmo. My mom was not tech savvy, is not tech savvy, so Tylee's account for Venmo was the one that she used to transfer money to us. So Tylee knew how to use Venmo, and so that's why that was ever there. And so she had just sent money through Tylee and said, you know, done, or whatever the case was. So she had just sent that in October.
There's never been a time in your life using Venmo with Tylee that she may have Venmoed you anything? personally, like her money, like I wanted to buy you this.
She had a couple of times, like she said, you know, for Riley or something like that. But primarily, it was from my mom to us through Tylee. Obviously, I don't know if Tylee was Venmoing other people, but to us, Tylee's Venmo was from my mom.
Like a broker account, a middleman.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of hard and confusing to know when her digital trail disappears.
Right, exactly.
When is the last time Tylee is not just seen in public, but seen on social media, online? Yeah. And you're trying to get a hold of her via FaceTime or phone call, and she's not answering at all.
Yeah.
And then after November, your mom drops off. Their phone's not working.
Yeah.
You never heard of Chad Daybell in your life?
No.
She never spoke about him, about reading his books at all.
Never heard of Chad. I had never heard of him. So obviously hearing that she was married to someone named Chad Daybell was like another huge shock to me.
We know that, you know, she'd been estranged from Charles, and Charles died. So I mean, it's people remarry.
Yeah.
But his wife died, and authorities say it's suspicious. And that was October 19th that his wife Tammy died. I'm sure you read up on that. Yeah. And then they're married within a few weeks. And in November, they're in Kauai applying to rent a home.
Yeah.
How you didn't know anything about this?
No. And
what's going through your mind now? Like, how could she get into this relationship with a man who's supposed to be a doomsday author, and his wife is gone? It just doesn't. It seems very like it's a fictional book.
Right. Yeah.
I just want to know how you feel.
I was so pissed. I was when what happened was this all kind of came out to us all at one time. So December 20th is when we actually started seeing that there was articles being made about this and like reading information. So I didn't know she was married through that. So apparently she's been married for however long, I don't know. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, this is already confusing enough. You've been married this whole time to someone I've never heard of. Like, I had no idea existed.
She couldn't tell you that she was getting married either.
Yeah.
Because
I had no idea she was married.
To her.
I don't understand why she got married. Like, I don't understand that. Nothing of this makes sense. So you're just like sitting there like frustrated and confused. And that's how this whole thing has been. It's just like, what is happening? What is going on?
And so when she moved to Idaho in September time, are there some phone calls with you and your mom, check-ins, texts, or anything? Just how often was that range of contact?
Yeah, it was probably every couple weeks. You know, just a random like, hey, love you. You know, I started picking up in my job duties, and that's when I was like just focused all day. I'm busy. I'm on the phone, you know, working. And so it's like talking to her was more of, I guess, a second. Yeah, it was a check-in. Like, hey, love you. And she would tell me the kids were good, and you would never think to question your own mom about the kids.
But there was still unknown to you where she was living. She didn't say, I'm here, here's a picture of our new place.
Right. No, nothing.
No pictures.
No idea where they were.
This doesn't make sense. Like, we always know where our family is, and it couldn't be, the details couldn't be provided.
Yeah, it's just, dude, it's just like one of those things where you're just frustrated, and, you know, like I said, from how many times we moved, you know, I've moved personally, how many times I know Tylee has moved. When they said they were moving, I just wanted them to be safe and cool. That's it. I just wanted them to be in a new place. To be honest, I wasn't asking why, because she was not making it a point to tell me. And so I was like, as long as you go somewhere, start new, and you find a way to have the kids walk into a new routine, walk into a type of life where they can do something normal, that's all I could ever want for them.
When was the last point of contact with Tylee where it's like, that's a conversation, a real legit conversation you had with her in September?
Yeah, so...
Was it a text?
Yeah, texting was the last time I actually got something back. So it was actually in October that we were texting, right? But at that point, I'd still been kind of wary for it. So I was texting her like back and forth, and that's when it was sketchy.
But you weren't sure it was her?
Yeah.
But so you're saying genuine conversation with Tylee where you're like, that's my sister, this sounds like her, and we're talking about something we talk about.
Shortly after the August 30th, we FaceTimed, and that's when she was at the table with JJ. She was babysitting him, and, you know, we had talked, and he had hung up the phone, so she texted me. She's like, sorry, he had hung up. So I obviously knew that was her. It was like immediate.
But they hadn't moved yet.
No, they hadn't moved at that point. So the last time I got a text from her was probably a couple days after that, and it was just the same thing. I sent her a video of my daughter, and I knew obviously she had her phone, and so she just responded. And then from that point on, I have no idea.
What did she say in the response?
To what?
To your text you said it was your
Oh yeah, she just said it's so cute. It was like a video of her laughing really hard, and so she said it's really cute.
She never said, Colby, we're in freaking Idaho.
Yeah, no, nothing.
Do you think your mom told her not to tell you anything about this? Like the Tylee would she tell you details? Would she tell you where she was going?
Well, this is where my mind starts to shift and where I start thinking I don't know, because I think that Tylee, like I said, is very protective of JJ. So if she felt like she was protecting JJ and she was in that place, maybe she would not tell me, because it doesn't really make sense why she wouldn't just be like, this is where we're at. But at the same time, it doesn't make sense why you'd have to hide it. There's no reason why you'd have to like hide where you're moving or where you're going. And so that's, frustrating as well. Like, we didn't have that conversation where she was at.
Do you don't know what cars they took up there and nothing of that sort?
No.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did Tylee drive a Jeep?
Yeah, Tylee had a Jeep. Other than that, my mom, I got a new car, and then they just left. So the car that I saw was Tylee's Jeep, and so that was it. They just left.
When you said bye to them,
Mm-hmm.
They were in the Jeep.
Yeah.
Okay. You saw them on Sunday in Kauai. The news, it was everywhere.
Yeah.
Getting ambushed and
Yeah.
being served. You've seen her walk with this guy you never met in your life. I guess I'm asking the same question, but at this point it's surreal. You're looking at them. Is there something different about your mom? You know her best. Something different about her demeanor, anything? What would you say about that?
She just seemed so dismissive. She just seemed like she was frustrated but trying not to be. And just to see her walking by and not answering questions and just so like whatever, like you're in my face, like you're annoying, that struck a deep chord with me, like just of anger. I was just, I don't know.
Do you ask yourself why she isn't cooperating with authorities?
Yeah, I want to ask her. That's why I've thought of all the scenarios, like what I would do.
How hard is it to tell them that they're okay?
Yeah, exactly. Why is that difficult? Well, how can it be a hard thing to do? I don't know.
So because she isn't cooperating, are you very, very concerned that they aren't okay?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems so simple. I don't want anything to have happened to them, and if something did, that would break me in a way that I just don't know how I can handle it. That's why I've just been try to be faithful, try to just pray about it, because I don't know. I just don't know how. If they are okay, I don't know why it's such a hard thing to do.
Do you feel like you don't recognize this woman that's your mom in a way? Like you don't recognize the type of person she is based on how everything's unfolded?
Yeah, that's not how it was. Like the way I feel like, to be honest with you, a good representation of how she is how she raised me. She loves people. She's always been empathetic to people. I love people, and she's always been a huge family person. And so to watch stuff like this happen, to hear these different stories about her, and obviously you love your mom, and I still love my mom, but to watch this stuff, like, you just like, it's like an unrecognizable person. And like when I saw her there and I saw Chad there, I lost it.
Because she is dismissing every type of report and the authorities.
Yeah, it's just like where like to not see the kids trailing behind them like that broke me pretty quick.
When it's been reported and it's known that there's no evidence of them being there, according to police and prosecutors.
Yeah, exactly.
What could you don't recognize this woman that is your mom? I guess that's what you're saying. Is she capable of harming them? Because what you remember is a family woman.
Yeah.
This is someone that we've heard from friends say is a mother of the year when they knew her in Kauai.
Exactly.
In 2014, 2015. Is there any reason she would harm them? No. My mom, I feel like my mom would die for the kids. So to see this and hear it and also be questioning why they're not being found, that's where all this comes into, like,
a battle between what you think and what you feel. Like, are they safe? Are they not safe? All of that stuff. So it doesn't make sense because there's never been a point where she's dismissed one of us or not given us, you know, the love or the attention that we needed or try to help us in whatever way that it was. And so to see her so dismissive is what scares me. Like, why? Why are you dismissing everybody?
Now that you're learning more, do you think that she is in control of what's happening with her life, or is it Chad, or is it equal? Who's really the heavier influencer now? We know she's read his books. We know she went to Idaho, and that's where he was. So
right.
That kind of tells you that she went and followed him. But at this point, who's in control?
I don't know. My mom's a grown woman. So I feel like whether Chad has an influence or whatever the case is, I feel like you're the mom and you have control of what happens with the kids, and that's your primary job. And so if she's got something else going on, then I feel like she just needs to handle her business. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if she needs to go to the police. I don't know if I don't want to say anything about Chad because I don't know him, no matter how upset I've been about seeing them together. But for her, I know that she has every reason why she could have shown the kids already or should have been doing what she should have been doing.
You put your message out on YouTube to her multiple times.
Yeah.
You have been vulnerable and opened yourself up. Whether people believe it or not, you've told her what you want her to know from you, from your heart. But now here we are, you know, days later, as things are evolving. What do you have to say to her now?
Right now, the way that I feel is that there's still some type of better outcome than where we're at right now. So whether that's revealing where the kids are, showing them, doing something that's cooperative to what everybody's trying to know is where are Tylee and JJ, I feel like that can still be done. And why it's been ignored is why I carry that anger and I'm trying not to. But why I'm upset, why I'm broken down, because I feel like to tell her, like, you still have that option and you should take it. Like, I just don't want to be that person that shoves my opinion on her, but you need to take the opportunity that you've been given to do the most basic thing.
You've had enough of this.
Oh, I'm done. I've been done. The day that I saw them without the kids walking around Hawaii, that was it. That was really the end for me.
I'm good. Do you have anything else you'd like to mention?
No, I just, more than anything, like, I really appreciate you and I being able to have a conversation, you know what I mean? But more than anything, I just really want Tylee and JJ to be, just to know what is going on with them. That's it. And that's been the message from the beginning. I know about all the other stuff. I know how horrible that stuff is. But, like, right now, I want this to be figured out so everything else can follow it, you know?
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.